What is going on, guys? My name is cosmovsgoku, and joining me today is
TwstdFlaems.
And we have seen One Piece film Red. We saw it, I want to say, just under 24 hours ago at the time of recording. So this is our review. For those who have been fans of the channel for a while, we have reacted to every single One Piece opening. We're huge One Piece fans. I personally blame TwstdFlaems here for getting me addicted to the series. So let's have a chat about this film. First of all, Flames, what did you think?
How spoilery are we going with this?
Let's keep it spoiler free for a few minutes, give people a chance to get our thoughts, and then we'll have
okay, cool. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed the movie. I went in a lot more blind than I thought I did. I didn't realize it was as much of a musical as it was.
Yep.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's definitely not my favorite of the movies, but it's still good. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I only knew one spoiler about the entire film.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it being a musical wasn't so much of an issue for me. It was quite a nice surprise, actually, and I liked that a lot of the music had different styles to it. And we'll get more into that a bit later. I think the villain of the piece was quite complex. And this was also my first ever One Piece film I've seen.
Yes.
So I haven't got anything to hold it up against, whether that's if you'll be so kind as to fill in any gaps I miss, Stampede, Strong World, Z, Gold, or
I think that's the four.
Okay.
Stampede, Gold, Z, and Strong World are the four Oda scripted movies, as opposed to like the seven of the 9 that I have on my shelf, which is actually of 11.
Okay.
Because there's the Alabasta movie and the Drum Island movie as well. So there's like 16 movies for this thing.
Fucking hell. So yeah, I had a great time. We saw it with some friends of ours, and I as someone who has only seen One Piece, the anime, I'm up to date on the manga, but in terms of the anime, I've only seen up until the very end of Alabasta, as I've been watching with Impolite By. Seeing One Piece not just on the big screen, but also in HD for new content was fucking wild. And
the animation has changed drastically as well since it was at the end of Alabasta.
Yeah, and I've seen some drawings. I've seen some clips, obviously, of Wano, and we won't be spoiling Wano in this part of the review either. But I loved that the art style and the art carried over from Wano into this film. And it was something else.
Oh yeah. Aesthetically and visually, it was a gorgeous movie.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And yeah, that plus the music on top of it was phenomenal.
I don't think it's so much of a spoiler based on what you were telling me earlier today, Flames, about One Piece films having a lot of cameos. This film had a lot of cameos.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised that certain people didn't cameo.
Okay.
But we'll talk more about that in the review. In the spoiler half, because that's going to probably get into some manga spoilers as well.
Yes.
I think the idea of going to this musical island, which is the key center point of the film, was really interesting, something new for One Piece. It was nice to see something that's so unexpected, but still, because it's the world of One Piece, still made sense within the world and within the universe. And I think that that final fight, man,
that was sick. That was sick.
Like I don't know if you looked at me in the cinema at all, but I spent the whole final fight looking like this.
I was too engrossed in the fight. The fight was just sick.
Yeah, and there's so much in that fight to love, I think, and I like that some characters got more shine than others. I think that was to be expected, but characters I didn't expect to get shine ever again in the series.
100%.
And power scalers, you're gonna hate this film if you're about power scalers.
Yes. Yeah. As soon as there's a specific part that I'm thinking of, and I think you're thinking of the exact same part. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, oh, power scalers are gonna hate this because that was busted.
Yeah. Um, and don't worry that that's not a spoiler in of itself. I think that this film was definitely inspired by some other pieces of media, in particular certain Christopher Nolan films, certain parts of the Naruto franchise as well. If not directly or explicitly, watching the film, I leaned over to you in the cinema and I said,
It's this.
and it's, I like that it took the concept of such a thing and did it differently. Because it would have been so easy to fall back on certain things. The CG in the film, it does utilize CG as any Toei anime film does.
And I'm pretty sure it definitely does mocap as well.
Yeah, for some of the Uta dancing scenes.
For some of the choreography, I'm like looking at it was too natural.
Yeah, it was very, very smooth. Smoother than I've seen any other anime specific film be in regards to this.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't mocap, 100%.
And it works. It works for the film. Because it really helps solidify it and stands it alone as its own thing. With that said, you could not watch this film without the backstory or without anything else, I don't think.
No. There was 2 episodes of the anime, which were filler episodes that came out recently, that built a lot more into this film that you kind of lose a little bit from.
Okay.
Which it doesn't impact it terribly, but it sort of just fleshes out sort of the obviously everyone knows Uta is a part of this film. It sort of serves as much more of the backstory of Luffy and Uta.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I'm with you. So yeah, I had a great time watching this film. It's a visual treat, especially that all through the film, like color just pops throughout the whole film. But it's particularly towards the end and that final fight. That's what I was saying, the CG. So some of the CG does look a little bit wonky at times, I want to say, but I think that that lends itself to Oda's style and to the style that is One Piece. Like you wouldn't expect something like, I'm trying to think of an example, like Howl's Moving Castle's the main set piece, Howl's Castle. It's not it and how that works within the aesthetic of that universe and that film and that style. It wouldn't work in any other anything. Similar thing happens here with a particular character's mode of transport at one point. And yeah, it's I've said it before, One Piece is this series where so many things shouldn't work. This franchise shouldn't work, but Oda has spent 24 years
thereabouts. This is the 25th anniversary.
Yeah,
this movie came out on the 25th anniversary, so yeah,
25 years building up this world where absolutely anything can happen and anything will happen, and it makes sense and it works, and I hate that it works.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I think that's pretty much everything I can say spoiler free. How about you?
I don't think I can extend on that any further without going into like heavy spoiler territory.
Alrighty. Cool. In that case, we're going to jump into some spoiler discussion now. So if you are mindful of spoilers, haven't seen the film yet, want to wait, want to avoid spoilers, now it's time to click away, come back after you've seen the film, finish watching what we think. Here we go. Final warning now. So, wow.
Yeah. So I will. I'm torn on this movie. Like I enjoyed it, but there's some very glaringly obvious issues with it.
Okay.
The motivation, like Gordon, the king dude, that entire sequence was shit.
Which sequence do you mean?
Like the whole deceiving Uta.
Yeah, that was
so clunky.
Yeah,
I didn't like it, and
I like that needed a pass in the script.
There was no reason to blame Shanks for the whole thing. There was no reason for them to leave like that. Like there's a way to have that. It's like, yeah, she wakes up and the island's been trashed. Shanks turns around and says, look, really bad stuff's happened. Like, look at everyone's gone except for you and Gordon. What did this was coming after us. We're gonna leave you here to work on your music career and stuff like that because we don't want harm to come to you. I know that you would love to stay with us, but it's too much of a risk for you to travel with us with such powerful enemies after us. Like that
more
that would have worked perfectly. It would have worked way more in character for Shanks as opposed to just dipping out and lying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it would have given Uta like wouldn't have resulted in her being resentful or anything like that. Also, Gordon not destroying Top Musica is just like, oh, I couldn't do it because it's like I can't destroy the music. It's like, no, it's destructive thing. Just tear it, chuck it into the sea. Like we don't need this thing.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think that bit was clunky. Like every time we flash back to it, and I think we go back to it 3 times in the film, or is it just?
I think so. I think there's the one where Uta gets her explanation of what's going on. There's the Shanks one, and then there's like some textless versions of like the chaos and stuff like that that goes with it.
That's right. Yeah. So at first, when we first went there, I figured that what had happened was a buster call.
I was on that
shooting at Shanks, and everything was fucked. And like that makes sense because obviously the military wouldn't want to get this to get out and then just blame it on Shanks because it's easy.
My thought was actually that Gordon was the villain.
I thought so too about halfway through.
Because him blaming Shanks and stuff like that, it was it was obviously fake.
Yeah.
Like it was obviously fake. So I'm like, no, Gordon, you're a bad dude. And then he's helping Luffy in that. I'm like, this isn't adding up.
Yeah.
What's the angle? And then they showed the Shanks stuff. I'm like, that's dumb.
Speaking of the villain, I liked that Uta was the villain.
Yeah. Well, officially, she wasn't.
Well, yeah, okay.
The Top Musica was the villain. That's the official stance. I think by Oda was that Top Musica was the villain.
Okay, I can kind of see where that's coming because it's threaded through the film that Top Musica was influencing Uda's motivation and everything, kind of like the Darkhold and Wanda in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
I still never got any. Okay, granted, I didn't really watch many trailers or anything like that because I was trying to go in as dark as I could. But just from the couple of trailers I saw, I never once got an indication that Uta was going to be the type of character or have the type of arc that she did have.
I picked it very early on in the movie.
Yeah, of course you did.
There was a moment at the very start while she was still doing the concert before she actually went down to where the Straw Hats were.
Yeah,
I think it was after Luffy had gone to the stage and the whole oven bit and all that stuff had happened, where she turned around and made the comment about, "Oh, I'm going to make a non-stop musical, and we're just going to stay here." I'm like, that wording is not sitting well with me.
Okay,
and then when she said something about staying here forever again, I'm like, nah, okay, she is the bad guy.
Yeah, okay, I can see how you got how you drew that conclusion. For me, that just felt like just standard fluff. It's gonna go on forever. Blah blah blah. Yeah,
no, it was the way it was said.
Yeah. Looking back, I'm like, yeah, okay. I thought it was interesting. One thing I thought that was going to come back later in the film was going to be the wake shroom that was discovered amongst the ingredients and then disposed of.
Yeah, I thought that was going to come back into play. It felt like Chekhov's gun.
Yeah,
that it was going to be a situation where someone that was outside would feed it to Luffy, and Luffy would wake up,
or Luffy had just eaten it because he's like, "Oh, food,
Well, I had 2 predictions with this. Someone was going to feed Luffy, and Luffy's been proven to eat in his sleep. Yep. So there was nothing stopping that happening. But the other thing was that Brook was going to be the integral part because very early on, it was confirmed that their souls were trapped in the Sing world.
Yeah.
Well, who's good with souls. We know that one person is good with souls, that's Big Mom, but the other one is Brooke because he is the Soul King. I figured that he might be able to get out. Also, the fact that he didn't use his projection form at all while he was attached to the thing, I'm like, that is weird.
Yeah, that bothered me. I actually was hoping that Brooke would have more to do in this film, considering it was so much about music and considering it was so much to do with souls. I'm
also shocked that Apu wasn't in this movie.
Yeah. I also didn't see Panda Man.
I don't know if Panda Man tends to appear in the movies.
It just felt like it's just one of those things that I'm like,
that you would expect. I mean, he probably was in there.
Say again?
He probably was in there, but being a movie, it's a lot harder to even focus on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So much going on.
Yeah. What else? I feel like we're time for spoiler thoughts. This is what we hated. I'm not trying to have that take.
No. But that I think you have to talk about the bad stuff before you talk about the good stuff. Look, I think Uta's abilities were really well matched to the One Piece world.
Yeah.
I think that skill, like as a devil fruit ability, like sometimes like other media, when you have a movie, you have a character that just is broken and they wouldn't work in the world.
Yeah.
I think that there should have been more get outs for her ability. And especially with more recent stuff we've confirmed in the manga, being that Conqueror's Haki or just powerful Haki can get you out of out of abilities.
Yeah.
Especially like spoilers for the manga post Wano, is that Law has proven to get out of a specific person's ability purely using Haki.
Yeah.
I was thinking that would actually come into play. Like after the
you mentioned
the way, because
that was only like a couple of chapters ago. I remember you said that to one of your friends.
Yeah. It's just I thought that maybe Luffy would be able to break out with Conquerors.
Yeah.
Like, and that would have made perfect sense. But them saying there's no way to get out, I'm sitting there going, that was my only problem with it.
Yeah.
So to have people, because there's no way that Luffy wouldn't have been able to break out of the Conquerors.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, I know it's another negative for the movie, but it's just,
And depending on your opinion of the final arc of Naruto, dear watcher, this was just Infinite Tsukiyomi.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
that an Inception
mixed with Inception, which is what we were talking about before. But like I mentioned then as well, I liked that it did something different. It pulled everyone into the one world, as opposed to individual worlds. I think it would have been messy if it was everyone's own individual world.
Oh, that would have just been pure chaos. It wouldn't have worked, especially with a character without Luffy. Luffy himself, like in the manga especially, like we see it in the anime, Luffy doesn't have thought bubbles.
Yeah.
Very frequently. The only time he's ever had thought bubbles was during Impel Down, and it was when he had to be quiet, so he couldn't externalize his thoughts. So a dream world for Luffy, I don't think would make sense. And I think because dreams are such a big focus of One Piece, I don't think any of the main, especially the Straw Hats, I don't think any of them could have conceivably been in their own dream world.
Yeah. And especially when you get to things like, probably should have said this when we jump to spoilers. We're probably going to be talking about manga spoilers. So just heads up, and I'll make sure that that's part of the on-screen.
Tagged.
Yeah. So like even recently when Luffy was talking about his what his end game dream is, and obviously we as the audience don't know it, but very few people in universe know what his true dream is as well. I feel like if it had been individual dream worlds, it may have risked usurping that mystery.
Yeah.
So it's probably for the best.
And considering the only people in world that know it are the Straw Hats, Sabo, Ace, I think Shanks
too, yeah.
Yamato and Uta.
Yep.
And Uta wasn't confirmed in the movie. It was in one of the filler episodes where Uta was confirmed to know Luffy's actual dream.
Yep. Okay, cool. I didn't watch those episodes because I was really concerned about spoilers for the film, like in any capacity. Because I think the episodes aired after the film came out in Japan.
No, They were the 2 weeks leading up.
That's right. Yeah.
The way that the movies work, and you haven't had to experience this at all in series, is leading up to the movie releases, the anime will do a couple of filler episodes or like an arc or whatever that ties into the movie.
Yep.
And you haven't seen any of the movies, so I can't really comment on any of them. But like one of the films is Film Gold. Before that, there was the Silver Mine mini arc. And I think that the person in that had a silver-based devil fruit, whereas in Film Gold, the villain in that has a gold-based devil fruit.
Okay.
So I think it was like one of those things to sort of get us up to that stage. I think I actually haven't seen the Silver Mine arc, but it actually introduced a character that was a big part of that movie in those fillers.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what these filler episodes did. And the filler episodes, I think I watched both of them. I may have only watched one of them, but they were set during Luffy's childhood. Like they were pre-Luffy's scar.
Yeah.
And so it was him meeting Uta and them originally butting heads and not getting along, and their development to becoming friends.
Yeah. Let's play a game. I'm 183 victories up.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. I really liked the what the game of chicken was.
Oh, yeah.
That was very, very unexpected.
So dumb.
Like, yeah, okay. It was stupid, but it was
dumb in,
level it was great.
Yeah, it was like dumb, but in series dumb. It's like Luffy's dumb.
Yeah. I want to talk about Luffy and from the very beginning of the series wanting a musician on his crew.
I said that to you last night. I thought that was amazing. I think that's amazing work. And obviously this like Uta is canon because she's in a more recent manga panel. Like she's silhouetted.
1055.
Yeah, because you looked that up last night.
Yes.
She's confirmed as canon to the manga, which is actually causes an issue with the end of this movie because Oda doesn't want her dead. And I think Oda's actually come out and said that she's alive.
I think I know the interview you're referring to, and I think that it would be very easy for next time the redhead pirates show up that Uta just walks out, like just walks out the door of like, where have you been? Oh, sleeping or whatever, catching up on sleep, because I think that her fate at the end of the film is left ambiguous enough where Oda could do that if he wants, but also we can take the character's fate as it's implied in the film, as the filmmakers intended.
Well, there's a thing that I saw on Reddit today, which is basically like a translated version of Oda's notes for the movie.
Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff that, like, with the Luffy's drawing of the straw hat, Uta and Luffy as kids and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But Oda explicitly stating that he doesn't want her to die. Like the death kind of undermines her growth and development by essentially giving her an easy way out.
Yeah,
because she knew from like a year after the Top Music incident that she caused it.
Yeah,
because of one of the SSG Dendemushi that she found. So she, I know. I saw that. And I said that to you on my SSG. Oh my fucking god!
And then I looked up, like, is that what I think it is? And then I just quickly looked it up in the cinema. I know. I'm sorry, guys. But I'm like, holy fuck, it is. Go on, sorry.
So it's good stuff. That's one of those things I didn't expect to see Bluno.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Bluno was in the movie because he hasn't actually appeared since the CP9 cover story.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been a long time.
And the only members of CP9 that we've seen since then have been Lucci, Kaku, and Spandam.
Yeah.
Like, Khalifa was in the movie, didn't do anything, but she was there in the white, but she's not confirmed as a part of CP0.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, that's weird. And that weird bath panel in the credits for her
was so funny.
It's so left field.
Yeah. Oda's definitely in his horny man phase at the moment, especially with everything going on with
in the manga.
Everything. And the outfits characters are getting there. I think that characters cameoing. I thought it was very interesting. I think it's been done very deliberately. I messaged you last night after we after we went our separate ways after the film has to take, the only place the film can currently take place is immediately after Wano, as soon as the Straw Hats leave.
No, it can't.
Really?
Because of a single line of dialogue in the movie that states that Luffy's the 5th emperor.
See, I took that as meaning that, okay, he's an
emperor. Also Big Mom's still active.
But we don't know what happened to Big Mom definitively.
We know, yeah, but we don't. We know she's not back on top land.
Okay.
Recent chapter with Pudding confirmed, like the general consensus is that Big Mom is dead.
That's right. Yeah, which she's obviously not, because Oda hates killing characters.
Yeah, and also Pudding was shown in the post credits, still with the Big Mom pirates. Sorry, in the credits, it just showed her in the background.
Yeah,
but yeah, she was still there.
So I like, but at the same token, too, like if you're gonna watch this film anywhere, watch it straight after Wano.
100%.
Until we know more about what happens with Egghead.
And that is purely because of the 3 seconds of Gear 5 that we get. I'm as I said to you last night, I'm so glad that that's all we saw. Which was just super close up of Luffy's face and
then from
back sort of image, but he's sort of like in the middle of the screen. If you've got like the full size screen, he's only about that big on screen. So I'm like, sweet, okay, that's not a big deal. It's a spoiler for sure for manga for anime only people, but it's not treated as like a big thing.
Yeah,
and that was the spoiler I had for this movie, and I thought we were going to get more, and I think that actually impacted my viewing capacity because I knew Gear 5 was coming. So to see him go Gear 4, see him go Snake Man, I'm like, well, this isn't going to work, so we have to get Gear 5, and that's not what happened.
Yeah, I was surprised that Gear 5 was used more traditionally shonen than what it was in Wano. And look, obviously the film would have been written years ago.
Don't think so.
Well, it would have entered production a couple of years ago at least.
Probably, yeah.
So it's possible Oda just didn't have everything about Gear 5 nutted out at the time.
I don't know, because like you got to remember the anime is a year behind the manga.
Yeah.
The movies wouldn't be far off that.
True.
And yeah, okay, so they'd have scripting probably done before, but animation wouldn't start till after. So they include stuff because timeline we have in the past, because this is the first movie I think since like first movie of the Oda involved ones that hasn't had bounties. Like that hasn't shown the characters' bounties. They didn't actually show any of their bounties at all, which is very unusual because Stampede had, because that Stampede came out, I think, just after like just at the start of Wano, or whenever it came out. Luffy already had his 1.5 billion berry bounty.
Okay, yep.
So yeah, it was just one of those things where we already had that bounty, whereas it only just happened in the anime.
Yeah. Okay.
So and the manga was a year ahead at that time as well. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cameos. Kid. I was surprised that Kid didn't show up in the.
I was expecting more of the Supernovas. Supernovas and West Gen.
And also Vivi.
That doesn't shock me.
So, and I say Vivi, I know, like, obviously, clearly the animation.
There was something Alabasta shown.
I think there was, but Vivi herself wasn't shown. And I feel like that was done to prevent any kind of spoilers about where she is currently in the manga.
I guess. But Kobe's also missing in the manga.
Yeah, I know. So it's kind of like, but also Vivi's been seldom seen since the Reverie.
She's been missing since the Reverie, yeah. True.
Which is like, what, 300 chapters?
Not that long ago.
Really?
The Reverie was post Whole Cake Island, the start of Wano. Wano was 147 chapters.
Oh, feels like so much longer.
So yeah, you're looking at like she's been last time she was seen was about like at this stage about 160 chapters ago.
Yeah. So
maybe
give or take
less.
just over about 3 years.
3 and a bit years because of the 3-week schedule.
Yeah. We have a cameo behind you.
Yes, we do. He's just chilling out back there.
I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, but you're right. The worst gen. I was surprised. I was surprised at like there was a lot of cameos and a lot of characters we haven't seen for a very long time. But I was surprised there weren't more cameos from more prevalent characters.
I'm sure we didn't see Smoker actually in the movie. We got him in like the end cards.
Yeah,
but
like in the back.
We didn't actually see him. I expected him to be in there. Especially when you've got so many Navy personnel in the movie.
Yeah.
Like shocked we actually didn't see Green Bull at all.
Yeah, but we've also only seen him for what, 1 chapter?
2 chapters, but yeah. I'm still shocked that he wasn't even at all, even in silhouette in the background somewhere.
Yeah.
Or even mentioned that Kizaru, you and Fujitora will be enough.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised Blackbeard didn't show up. And also no one from Wano. And we didn't see Zoe as well, which I was surprised. But like, when they were going around like all the various locations, it felt like, and granted, the film does open like highlighting the celebration of the 25th anniversary. So we see a lot of locations and a lot of stuff from earlier in the series, rather than more recent stuff. But I was still surprised, like at like certain emissions were too particular to be omitted. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, sort of, kind of. I get not including, because I mean, none of the Beast Pirates were involved, and nothing from Wano, and I think that was a deliberate thing to not place that anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Because how can you include Wano stuff without, like, you either have to reveal characters that are dead in like the form of, again, with manga spoilers, Izo and Ajirodoji, or like the fact that King, Queen, Jack, and Kaido have been taken down, or you show them still in power. Because geographically, this island is in paradise.
Yeah.
It's not in the New World. It's in paradise.
Yeah.
So, like, geographically, the doesn't fit, which is fine.
Yeah. It's like, that's okay. It's, sorry, go on.
No, that was my point.
Yeah.
So, like, not seeing anyone from like the Wano saga makes sense.
Is this film the closest the characters come to killing Luffy?
Probably not. Definitely not.
Oh yeah, of course.
He's like he's been absolutely decimated by other people in other movies. I won't get into it too much, but yeah, he's been absolutely, like, it's pretty normal for a movie. Luffy gets absolutely destroyed, then has to come back. I think this is the longest he's been unconscious for. Okay,
because the part I'm specifically referring to would be when Uda's about to stab him and Shanks stops the stabbing.
Oh yeah.
But then I think, okay, cool. What about when he fought Crocodile and I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of a moot point because he couldn't survive getting stabbed.
Yeah.
The music in this film, both the OST and the vocalized tracks. What did you think?
I love it. It was good.
You're big on that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I love musical numbers and just the sheer variety we get from one artist. And I know that even with the dub of the movie, they kept all the songs in Japanese.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't. Music's a very contentious thing with One Piece. Originally, when the anime started coming out, they were dubbing the intros. But Toei's come out and gone, not doing that. So the songs don't get dubbed anymore. No songs get dubbed anymore, which sucks. But yeah, no, all of Uda's songs were kept in the original Japanese. for the movie, regardless of language.
Yep.
But yeah, no, they were solid. There's a really good mix of like styles and stuff like that throughout the movie. That was good.
I agree. There was a couple of points where and I can't really fault anyone for this, and this is just a huge nitpick. That's when young Uda was singing. Whether it was the same actor or not, I haven't had a chance to look it up. The singing voice didn't accommodate for her age.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was the same vocalist. I can't remember who the vocalist is.
And that just was just so jarring to me because like that's such an easy thing to work around.
Potentially. I mean, yeah,
But
filters
the
and stuff like that.
consistency fake, but at the same token too, it's not that kind of movie, kid. That part at the end with Yasop and Usopp.
Oh yeah, that was the other part that was spoiled for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't spoiled entirely. It was interesting to see, and it was nice to see Usopp's observation haki back in play.
Yeah.
It's weird that the connecting thing with observation haki was a thing.
Yeah,
I didn't really understand that.
That also feels like something that won't come up again.
Yeah, and it was weird because it was like connecting to other people with observation haki. It wasn't just being able to use observation haki to see through the two worlds because they were merged at that point in time. Because at that stage they were merged. Like if they had have done that and been able to see through and see both sides at the same time, and even just seeing like kind of seeing all the other people on the other side as a hologram, that would have been better, I think.
Yeah.
But like this weird connection between Yasop and Usopp, like, yeah, okay, fathers and son. But then Katakuri had it with Brule as well.
And that's the bit I was referring to earlier about power scaling.
Well, the bit I was referring to was Frankie and Oven.
Yeah, okay.
Like Frankie just like blocking Oven and be like, yeah, nah, you're not getting past me. And him actually being able to go toe to toe with Oven.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Katakuri Brule, I'm like, that's a weird one to be. Usopp and Yasop haven't seen each other for that long, and Yasop just knew that Usopp had observation haki.
There's a lot of contrivances in that final fight, and a lot of really weird pairings, and it was clear, as far as I was concerned, that the pairings were based on either
it was familial ties,
or it was people with very similar body type or abilities.
Oh yeah, the actual people that struck.
Yeah.
At the thing. Yeah.
And that just that was very, very like, what are the chances of that?
What kind of annoyed me with that whole section was you're talking about people with strong observation haki connecting to one another.
Yeah.
But Shanks and Luffy didn't connect.
Yeah.
Like Shanks confirmed. Said to Katakuri when Katakuri was explaining things, he's like, yeah, you're not the only one with observation haki. I don't know if he was referring to himself or Yasop, but we know that Luffy has advanced observation.
Yeah.
Usopp doesn't have advanced observation.
No.
He's barely tapped into his observation. So Luffy and Shanks should have also been able to have that same connection, unless it was only family members that could do it. But that's just a weird connection because Brule was never shown to have observation haki.
Yeah. It was just
it was weird. It's definitely an odd thing. Again, we're back in the negatives, but
we've talked about the positives for a bit. Let's talk about the negatives again for a bit. Let's talk about positives again. Shanks has appeared in real-time chapters in 12 chapters throughout the whole series up until this point. And he did more in this film than he has in those 12 chapters combined, except maybe when he saved Luffy from the Sea King at the start of the series.
Yeah, I was gonna say chapter 1 would probably be a bigger thing.
But even then, seeing him do stuff and seeing him go toe to toe with the Navy like he did, without breaking a sweat and just put them in their place, it's like, fuck.
Well, the whole crew, the only reason they took damage throughout that entire thing was because they weren't fighting back.
Yeah. They just stood there. It's like,
Yeah. They just took the hits. So, okay.
Yeah. And it's just like it really sold Shanks's position, not just as an emperor, but as really a kind of end goal. And I've been saying this for a long time. It would be surprising if for one reason or another Luffy and Shanks didn't have some kind of uh combat or come to blows in some capacity, because that's shonen tropes at play. Like it would be very uncharacteristically unshonen to not do. So and like Shanks didn't have any kind of power-ups or anything like that, and Luffy had to go Gear 5 in order to be putting out the same input as what Shanks was, at least in terms of the visual storytelling of the film. And I liked that like I think that really helps solidify how far Luffy still has to go. Like
also how close he is.
Yeah, because he was able to get there using a film he's used once before.
Yeah.
Or
nonce before, depending on when this is taking place.
Yeah. And to just, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that goes. And it was so cool to be able to see Shanks fight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And recently, when he said he was going to go after the One Piece, like straight after Wano, when they were docked outside Wano, and the intensity in that one like the close-up panel, and then mix that with using Haki at the beginning against that Sea King when he saved Luffy, and also using his Haki just to fuck everyone else off at the end of this film.
Yeah.
Like seeing him in action, seeing him go full on, because clearly he, like, up until they were stopping Top Musica, he was obviously not putting in too much effort.
Yeah, 100%. Well, he didn't use his conquerors until the very end.
Yeah.
Which, again, also shocked by that, but that's a different thing.
But I think that, like, when we finally get to see Shanks go all out, it is going to be something else. And
100%.
I think it's going to be just as amazing as seeing Luffy go all out in Gear 4 against Kaido.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I love Gear 5. I think it's a great concept, and I love to throw back to those old Looney Tunes or early Disney cartoons. But it's not as epic as Gear 4.
I think it will be when it's animated.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, so of course we're just going by the manga here, or the 4 seconds in film red. But it's wacky, it's kooky, it's kind of like, and you're gonna hate this comparison, I know. I think it's the difference between Super Saiyan and a Fat Fusion. Like Super Saiyan Gogeta versus Veku, for example. So Veku versus Janemba, and Gogeta, Super Saiyan Gogeta versus Janemba. Like that kind of difference in epic. And I know the film is...
I don't know who those characters are. I haven't watched Super.
They're not in Super. So this is like from the Fusion Reborn film where Goten and Trunks fight Hitler.
I haven't seen Fusion Reborn.
Okay.
Dude, the only Super movie I've seen was Broly,
which is fantastically animated.
Yeah, the whole breaking reality stuff. And I went to that because I got a free ticket. Like someone else didn't go, so I went. Yeah, I read the Tournament of Power. Like,
yeah, okay. If it was the Veku versus Janemba fight was a very comedic fight, lots of physical humor, physical comedy, that sort of thing. When Goku and Vegeta fused properly into Janemba, and used Soul Punisher against Janemba and one-shot him, it was fucking badass.
Okay.
But it's that's the difference. Like those two extremes, kind of how I look at Gear 4 or Snake Man versus Gear 5. And I feel like once Gear 5 has a chance to really shine, whether that's in the anime or whether that's in future manga chapters, because of course it's going to come back. Oda doesn't forget anything.
Very true.
Pardon?
Very true.
Yeah. It will be something else, I think.
For sure.
Trying to think what else about the film. Sunny.
That was different.
That didn't need to be there.
No, there was no narrative benefit to the whole anthropomorphic Sunny.
That was there to sell toys.
Yeah, and same with Bluno and Beppo.
Yep.
When they got like
chibi forms, yeah.
Thing. Like that was never explained. It just was a thing that happened.
Yeah, good point. Like I kind of like in the end, I took it to mean kind of like when Uda was turning people into toys and candy and everything like that.
Yeah, it was like a half point for that.
But it needed a line in there.
Also, picking this movie apart, Bluno turns around once he's been turned into chibi form, saying he can't use his abilities.
Yep.
He uses them twice after that.
Yeah.
It's like, you just said you couldn't do it.
I think the big issue with this film, and we have to look at when it would have been in production as well. It's 2023 now. So I have a feeling the pandemic may have impacted that.
Maybe.
Like, just the creative process. Maybe there wasn't enough, there wasn't much of a chance to do as many creative passes on the script or on the concepts of the film or the concepts of power as perhaps may have been possible pre-pandemic. The script, like, I enjoyed the story and I enjoyed this. I didn't see any glaring issues in the script, but certain things need to be tightened up and thank you, polished and really extrapolated upon to better explain what they are or how they are or whatever.
Yeah, well, Bluno having a random stamina issue with his devil fruit.
Which like, that doesn't strike me that'll come up again either.
It's never been mentioned.
Yeah.
It's not something that has ever been a factor. And it's not something that actually was an issue in the movie. Like there was no situation where he should have been able to use it more than what he did.
That comes across as a Toei issue. Speaking of the Tournament of Power, I don't know, I can't remember if it was this way in the manga, but in the anime, Goku ran out of stamina 3 times in the anime, in the Tournament of Power.
Definitely didn't happen like that in the manga.
The Tournament of Power is canonically 48 minutes long in universe.
Yeah.
So you're like telling me he ran out of stamina 3 times in the space of that 48
minutes. Every 15 minutes.
Got enough stamina back to be able to then keep, like, that's very much a Toei issue. And I think it's a Toei issue in the sense of they just say it because it sounds cool and it looks cooler when they keep using their abilities rather than thinking of the film or rather that's what I'm looking for. The consequences of such phrasing.
Well, the only characters in series that have shown that their abilities have any level of stamina issue has been Law and Kid.
Yep.
And both of them were, and Luffy when he was first doing stuff. But all of them have been like, for Law and Kid, it was generally either really big versions of their attacks or their awakenings. And for Luffy, when he was having stamina issues, it was when he first has been using a technique, like Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd, Gear 4th, when they first came into play. But those issues go away. Bluno is just opening doors, and he's opening them in thin air. There shouldn't be a stamina issue. Like, I don't understand how you would have a stamina issue when all your ability is opening a door. You should have more stamina than Mr. 3, and he made a giant bloody cake out of wax.
Yeah.
Like,
especially
ridiculous.
And I think that goes back to what we were saying earlier about not just power scaling, but also narrative coincidence. And things happening because the movie says they have to happen. And and I think that's probably why I don't rate this film high, and we'll get to ratings soon. But like the story being told, I liked. And I liked the movie.
It was an interesting story to tell.
But the way it was told let the film down.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad we didn't do this last night, like originally intending to or considering, because I would have just kissed this film's ass. Like I feel like probably a lot of other people are, without thinking about the film critically. And I've studied filmmaking and making television shows, and I edit hours on end every day. I get this sort of thing. And
I watch stuff.
Yeah, like, and I absorb a lot of visual medium, and these are just things that just stick out to me. And when there's conveniences at play, I'm gonna question them. When I have a chance to look back at it and be like,
like the Bluto stamina issue could have easily been just like when he was in the chibi form, then he had issues with his powers and he couldn't use them as well.
Yeah,
fine. There's something going on. There's something fuckery going on with magic from her ability. Okay, cool. You've got issues, but he mentioned it beforehand.
Yeah,
like it was, and the first mention of it was when he was on the bridge with Kobe and Helmeppo, saying that he didn't have the stamina to use his ability. If it was a case of I can't transport this many people with my ability, fine.
Big difference though.
We've never seen him transport multiple people outside of the CP9 cover story.
Yeah.
And that was only usually like grabbing one person at a time and putting them in the door world and then coming out. So if he turned around and said, yeah, look, I would love to use my abilities, but I can't transport this many people at once, fine. But it was specifically mentioning stamina.
To that,
I'm hung up on that point.
To that as well, it felt like there were a lot of characters in the film. Like I can appreciate cameos, I can appreciate fan service, and I love seeing certain characters, especially in my case, seeing certain characters animated for the first time properly outside of an opening, like Bart. And so that was really cool. But there are also some characters I'm like, why you're in the story? Like, what does the story gain from you being in this film? And
who specifically did you feel that with?
What's her name? Like the so Oven was one.
Yeah, but Oven came with the brulee thing, which actually helped people move around.
Yeah, like, and
but
like
we've got two people with alternate reality abilities in the door and the mirror world. We didn't need both of them. You're right.
Yeah, and then like Helmeppo, I can understand it was there because Kobe was there, but like he didn't need to be there.
I think it's a package deal.
Yeah, so like I get why he was there. It's like having Goten without Trunks.
Yeah, and you couldn't have had Brulee there on her own.
Yeah,
trying to capture Buta.
Yeah,
and having her be the transport that gets them there works and makes sense.
Yeah, and like Big Mom's random cameo, just to send off Katakuri for like, and then he just somehow
he was an exposition dump.
Yeah, and then he just randomly was able to get there and was just in the final fight. Like he didn't, aside from the final fight and like the his role in the final fight, he didn't add anything else to the film. That could have been any other character.
Like already have him there.
Yeah.
Already have him there because a couple of his siblings happen to be massive Uta fans.
Yeah.
And just do that, and him just like being a contrarian or whatever, hates the music, so he's got headphones on the entire time to block out the noise, and that's why he doesn't get caught in the sing ability,
which is so
he's just like, yeah, he'd just be like, I'm just here because my siblings are here, so I'm here to look after them, and have the future sight be the reason that he's able to avoid the music stuff. Like, just already have him there.
I might be misremembering 24 Hours Later, but did his future sight say that he could see into the other world?
Yep. That's because of how good it was. Yeah, I can see in the other world for like a second or two through my sister's eyes.
Oh, okay. So it just goes back to that, like, the random being able to connect with Haki. which makes no
Yeah,
fucking
don't
sense.
don't have, say, I don't know, an example where she's using her ability to generate a window using mirrors into the other world,
Yeah,
where it can't be used to physically move through there, but they could possibly see through into the other world. Don't
yeah,
have that as the explanation, because
yeah,
that would actually have been a good use of her powers, to have like him able to see what's going on through a mirror that she's holding.
yeah.
Like that would have been cool.
Speaking more about characters that didn't need to be there, going back to Sunny for a
Mm.
second. One thing I liked that the dub did, and we didn't watch the film in dub. I read this online, is that Lisa Ortiz returned to the series in the dub. For those that
Yeah.
don't know, Lisa Ortiz played Chopper in the 4Kids dub and plays Sunny in this film.
Yeah.
That for me felt very much like the Funimation dub of Dragon Ball Super, bringing in Brian Drummond to play a duplicate Vegeta in that 3 or 4 episode arc about halfway through Super's run, where you had Chris Sabat as the actual Vegeta, and you had this knockoff Vegeta played by Brian Drummond, who of course played him in the Ocean Group dub.
Yeah.
Like the original over 9,000 dub. And so to have Lisa Ortiz come in and play knockoff Chopper, because that's essentially what Sunny was, far less interesting Chopper. I feel that was I feel like that was really, really nice touch on behalf of, and I don't know if Funimation thought about that when they were casting her for the film, but it was still nice. And
yeah, for sure.
I liked that. So I complain about that happening in the film, but I also feel like that loops back in with the soul of the Mary. And like the Sunny obviously has a soul. That's well established. Like the ships are as much part of the crew as the rest of the crew. But the post-credit scene when Luffy spoke to the Sunny and then declared his dream, that was so tacked on feeling.
Yeah, it did feel a bit like that.
Original outfit. Like, why? Why was that there? Like, that felt like it was there just so they had a chance for Luffy to say he wanted to be king of the pirates.
Yeah.
No other reason in the film. Like, that could have been, like, that post-credit scene could have been, maybe it's the Marvel fan in me, but it could have been maybe revealing that Uda survived, or teasing something about the future of the series, or maybe like
they wouldn't do that in the,
you know what
movies.
I mean? Like the at the end of the last Naruto the movie. Have you seen that one?
No.
Okay, at the very end of that film, there's a post-credit scene, which is a flash forward to a few years before Boruto. And it was the first appearance of Boruto and Himawari. And all it is running through Naruto and Hinata's house to play with Naruto in the snow.
Okay.
And then right at the end, it's like, they announced Boruto, the film.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing was really, really nice.
That was leading into another film, though. So that's, One Piece doesn't do that.
Sorry, but like I said, that's probably just the Marvel fan in me as well. So, but yeah, that was my take on that anyway.
I get that.
So,
but look, it definitely was a very gorgeous film, and the music was phenomenal, and just like the art was beautiful. Like all of the stuff for the Alessia, I think it was. Yeah. That was all gorgeous. Like just like all like the little like harp looking structures and all that sort of stuff. That was amazing. It was a great setting. It was a great location for the movie. I really, really enjoyed it.
I think that that's exactly what I was about to jump into. Like the art direction of the film is gorgeous. Every color pops. Everyone looks amazing. It was really weird that Nami's bust was so small.
Yeah, my mate commented on that. It's like, this is like, it's just basically the smallest she's been in any media for a very long time.
Yeah, that was really weird. The fight in the library or whatever it was, that kind of felt like I understand why they went there. Narratively, I understand why they went there. Like the story had to go there to explain Top Musica properly and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the fight set piece felt very well. We need to give the rest of the Straw Hats something to do in this film at some stage, aside from the
It it did feel like everyone was relegated off to the side. Whereas like things like Film Gold was a heist movie.
Yep.
And realistically, the person that fits in least with a heist movie is Luffy.
Yeah.
And Zoro to an extent. But like everyone else can work in a heist setting, so it worked for that. So they were able to do that a lot better with that movie and use everyone a lot better. Also, having multiple enemies also helps, because usually the bad guy groups will be like 3 people.
Yeah.
So then at least you'll get like Zoro, Luffy, and Sanji all getting to do something.
Yeah. So you get the monster trio to do cool shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that the film's here it is. Film is fantastic, fantastic ideas. Where it's let down is its execution.
Yes.
Which is a standard Toei issue.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like as I said, like visually the movie was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like musically and all that sort of stuff, all the soundtrack stuff, gorgeous. Just that the story was the problem.
Yeah. And
the over arc of the story was fine. It was, you know, nothing revolutionary. It was good. It was a good twist having Uta be effectively the villain for the movie. Like, it wasn't what I expected going in. That all that stuff was good. It was just bits here and there that either needed to be tweaked or removed or changed or whatever, just to elevate the movie more.
Yep. So I think at that point, I think I can't think of anything else I wanted to add. Do you, Flames?
Nah, nothing else I can think of.
Alrighty. So in that case, do you want to do your rating first, or will I?
You can do yours first.
Alrighty. So taking into account, like, I love the characterization of this film. I love the story that was told. If the execution was poor, I think the script was well, it was a one-piece script, so it was had some really, really great ideas and some really, really great jokes weaved in. And I think everyone was in character, which was fantastic in terms of the cast we know. It was really fucking cool getting to see Shanks do something, aside from standing around being an exposition machine. And it was really, really cool to be able to watch One Piece look this fucking good on the big screen with my friends. Big props for Gear 5. Even if the final fight didn't make any sense for the pairings of characters. And those little grievances aside, out of 10 straw hats, so we're rating these not out of stars, out of straw hats.
Just to be different.
Out of straw hats, I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. I'm
giving it the same score.
Okay. I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't have any big things to say. I've already talked about everything. Like, there are issues with movies. It's, you know, it's not revolutionary or anything like that. It's, you know, it's not an endgame movie or anything like that. And it's definitely not my favorite of the One Piece movies. But it was solid. I enjoyed it. I didn't walk out of there disappointed or that I'd wasted money or anything like that. So yeah, 7's a solid number and I like that.
Nice. What is your favorite, for the audience at home, what is your favorite One Piece film?
Stampede.
Yep. Okay.
For that and Strong World are my favorite too.
Okay. Yep. Fantastic. Alrighty. Well, in that case, I think we're going to leave it there. I think we've said everything we can about this film. If you liked our thoughts, looking forward to hearing yours. Drop your thoughts down in the comment section below. Don't forget to remember to like, share, and subscribe for all things Journeyman Abridged related to One Piece and everything else we do here. I've been cosmovsgoku. This has been
TwstdFlaems.
And we'll see you guys very soon.
Bye.
Bye.